The Ethereum Bitcoin pairing has been an absolutely phenomenal chart for judging where in the macro cycle is the greater crypto sphere, including Bitcoin. With that said, welcome back to Elliott Trades channel. I'm your host Crown again today with some good old TA for this one, and we have a fun one today as I want to first highlight a chart that I think is rather ripe and very interesting with a major setup, and then also correlate that with Bitcoin and the greater crypto sphere as to where we are and what to expect over the next few months here. Okay, before I get into it, I should also let you know that I have my own channel. There is a link in the description below. We do a daily Bitcoin analysis and also live stream fun action as well with some good old altcoins there too. All right, sweet. So let's just jump right into this one. We're going to start it off with Ethereum Bitcoin pairing right here. So remember, we are looking at Ethereum versus Bitcoin, not Ethereum versus the dollar. However, as we'll go over later, those seem to be rather correlated with the macro weekly direction of this pairing. So what do we have going on right here? Well, you already know where I'm going with this one. We have a slew of higher lows. We have a reaccumulation formation in the format of an ascending triangle. And again, don't let this word confuse you or scare you. It just means that we have higher lows, implying that buyers getting more aggressive. Sellers are waning within their power to force price action down from the same levels. And these are statistically more likely to break out to the upside. Okay, so we are getting very mature within this current formation right here. Just as a general aside, studies have shown, or at least my studies have shown, that when you get about 70 to 75% full within these tentacle formations, that is when they're most likely to break. And we can see this one getting around those levels right there. Could that be a little bit into December, mid to late December? Absolutely yes. But once we get into this region right here, this one can break at any moment in time. Now we can further sort of enhance that by looking at volatility over here. Volatility is on the weekly, by the way, very high term time frame for this chart, is absolutely on the lows. The last time we saw it this low was precipitating the December 2020 run, where, as you know, back on over here from basically wick low to next major high was a 240% move. Not bad. We saw similar volatility levels over here, and that precipitated this beautiful run from top to bottom before the next consolidation, about 136% move. Not super exact right there, but you get the point. And then we do see several other iterations with downside resolution. So this is a good time for me to let you know, once again, or remind you that volatility is direction neutral, but trend and momentum give us a sort of bias on which way this will be resolved. At the end of the day, though, the most important thing for this is the validation condition of this tentacle formation, which would be on a weekly closure above 7.8 million Satoshis. If that condition is met, this does have a tentacle target short term for a weekly, so probably in the following couple weeks. We'll be looking at a move towards 0.0965. That's 9,650,000 Satoshis. And I do not believe that things would stop there, as we'd essentially be in no man's land. Long term, I'd be looking for the macro extensions to be played out here on these Fibonacci extensions, which would put us in line at minimum with the 1.272, the next following month and a half after validation above the topside resolution here. And at maximum about the 1.618, which many things in this market are hitting. Again, this would be over a more prolonged period of time, obviously, but that is around 0.19 Satoshis. So that's, what is that? 19 million Satoshis? I don't know. Look, these numbers are too big right here. So I'm just going to put that right there, 0.19. And that would only represent the weekly move here, not to discount the monthly. Anyways, what else do we see here that is of particular interest? The weekly RSI is breaking, or actually about to test in the bullish control zone with the next closure. Let's see, above, yeah, basically here or higher, we will enter within the bullish control zone. Obviously, also playing out the hidden bullish evidence right here as well. So again, a few more things suggesting upside continuation. And then of course, weekly Joule, my own indicator, looking good right there as well. And from a stochastic momentum oscillator perspective, we see that weekly momentum is going to be back within the bullish control zone with any sort of a closure today on the weekly closure at 8 p.m. Eastern time, above 6.7 or so million Satoshis, which we are currently well above. So again, be aware of where the validation conditions are. And until then, price action can ebb and flow here. Short term, do we play out a little bit of downside move? That's fine. Does this need to happen like today? No, obviously not. We're looking probably in the next few weeks to come, probably more likely in middle of December, but this is still rearing up to be rather good. What would invalidate the daily setup here? Well, we've actually already played out our short-term moves. If you reference the video from, I think this was like a week and a half ago, we already hit our short-term target at 7.4 million Satoshis and then our medium-term target at 7.8 or 7.75 on a daily. So this would invalidate the daily setup below our last higher low at basically 7 million Satoshis. As long as the pairing is above there, very, very good. And I do look for upside continuation upon resolution above that 7.8 million Satoshi region. And this looks pretty damn good. If you lose that level over there, I'd look for corrections down to 6.5 million Satoshis and then come back to it after that. I would make no further analysis on it until that has actually happened. All right, let's go over here. Just double check on our weekly Bollinger Bands. We can also see the topside Bollinger Band is currently about at our upside resolution target. Let's actually do this for the weekly right here. It'd be right there. And you can see that they're squeezing on, which does imply, hey, if we break above, this is going to be a weekly macro breakout, looking for big bad moves to the upside. All higher term timeframes are bullish on this one, but still want to see resolution. Okay, so we're 6 minutes into this video now. All fun stuff that we've spoken about right there is great, but let's now talk about why this matters. So since the dawn of time, the Ethereum Bitcoin chart right here on the weekly, as far as weekly trend goes, and I'm just going to get rid of all these. As you can see, well, you can't see it just yet, but as you will see, the weekly trend of Ethereum Bitcoin pairing specifically has gotten the macro direction of the greater market basically since it started going live in 2015. So what do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to put on some vertical lines right here, representing all of their weekly reversals, the highs and the lows essentially. Our first one coming in October 2015, our next reversal coming in March 2016. And well, that one just went straight up to be fair, but overall, what I need to do now is match this up with Bitcoin's chart, which we'll go back on over here. I'm going to get rid of all of this. And let's go back to the dawn of time when this pairing first went live. That again is going to be about October, November 2015. We saw a reversal there off the lows. What was Bitcoin doing in 2015? Around that time, that was right here on basically Bitcoin's last major drive to the downside before glory times for the next 3 years, essentially. And while Ethereum did play out some downside moves throughout there, you can see that the macro trend was very much to the upside, obviously, throughout this whole way. And yes, we did see consolidations on Bitcoin as well when this level was hit right here. Of course, so the macro direction was still to the upside. So we really didn't see our actual reversal here, meaning that we get lower lows and lower highs until we got our first lower, we got our first lower low right here compared to this low. And we got our first lower high right here compared to this high. And I'll just quickly and briefly mark them off. Boom and boom. So there's your lower lows and there's your lower highs. Okay, beautiful. And right here as well. And we had a little bit of a mid-cycle consolidation right here, which we can just briefly point out on Bitcoin. That was this area right here. Anyways, for Bitcoin, obviously Bitcoin remained bullish all the way from basically that October 2015 number right here, which I'll mark off, boom. And where did we see our reversal? Well, reversal was confirmed about right, in this area right here. We got our first lower high, lower low right there, boom, shred down. And what do you know? Where does Ethereum get it? February 2018. That's interesting. That's basically end of January 2018, pretty much around the same time. Down we go. Where we stop, only Bear Jesus knows. And you can see that the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing remained dormant and downside angled basically until December 2019, which was where? Where was December 2019? Where it put in the lows. December 2019 was where? Right around here. It's not going to get the actual low on this one, obviously, but we did not have a confirmed reversal until a little bit later where we got our first higher high and higher low. Where was that? December 2020 right here. And where is December 2020 on this chart? That would be basically when Bitcoin broke above right here, its prior all-time high, and went on this current mega run, as you can see. And since then, we do see Bitcoin in a major consolidation range, basically between this area right here and this area right here. This is a macro consolidation. So yes, it's absolutely massive, not very helpful for the short term, obviously, but we're talking about a range of almost 40,000 bucks. It's rather large. Anyways, going back onto Ethereum, what have we been doing since that time as well? Since May, consolidating within this region right here. Beautiful, very good confluence. And so my point is that if Ethereum does continue on with the macro rally here, which we certainly get a lot more bullish signals than not, although again, still want to see actual price action confirmation above that 7.8 million Satoshi region. If that is confirmed, I would be looking for this consolidation right here for Bitcoin to be resolved to the upside as well, and the macro rally to continue, as we've seen all macro reversals on the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing correlate with Bitcoin and the greater cryptocurrency spheres direction as well. Not for the short term, again, for the long term. So this very likely takes its time. And as you perhaps might have seen on prior videos where we went over or basically went over a statistical analysis of the long-term cycle of Bitcoin, probably looking at minimum around the start of Q3 2022 and at most Q4 2022, at least given our current statistics that we are working off of for this market cycle. So this can take a long time, obviously. Bitcoin can fill out this area, a lot more, something like this. All right, maybe puts in its own ascending triangle, something like that, right? And then breaks it up to the upside alongside Ethereum doing, well, hey, that's not what I wanted to do. Stop that. There we go. There's my little paintbrush and, maybe something like that, right? Again, not saying that has to happen exactly from this area right here, but I do want to point out that, long term, if Ethereum Bitcoin does break out to the upside, I'd feel very confident in saying that Bitcoin very likely does as well. So just a little bit of the macro, a little bit of Ethereum Bitcoin current setup. Hopefully this one was helpful. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.